at me now. Check me out. Look at me now. Look at me now. Check me out.
Our winner, Cynthia!
Hey, IT Nation, Sean Lardo here with another episode of the PitchIT podcast. I am with my colleague, friend, and co-host Andrea Barrow. How are you today?
Hello, Sean Lardo. I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. So,
Fabulous.
right, it's a good day today.
It is.
This is a recording, so it doesn't matter what we say about the current events because this will come out at a future date, so it's irrelevant.
The weather is weathering. It's great.
Correct. However,
Yeah.
this is a really good episode today. I feel like we have star
Highly
power.
anticipated. Yeah. Star power. That should be the title of today's PitchIT podcast episode.
I agree. So before we get into
Yeah.
who we have here today and get into interviewing them, I have some questions. So this podcast, how often will it come out?
You know, this podcast is coming out every other Thursday at 8 a.m. Eastern on all of the different IT Nation social channels. So find us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Thread, might throw it on Facebook. But the important thing, every other Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern.
That is correct. Good job. So
Thank you.
now, next question is for those that don't know, what is PitchIT?
Oh, excellent question. PitchIT is the IT Nation's Startup Accelerator program, where we have a cohort of about 25 to 30 different companies. They go through a 16 weeks of rigorous business training, IT Nation training, to really get them ingrained into the incredible MSP industry. They go through a first round of competition where 3 finalists will get an opportunity to compete on main stage at IT Nation Connect in Orlando in November. And they're all pining for the grand prize of $70,000.
Nice job. That is absolutely correct. Okay. So now, with that all said, though, I guess that leads us to our next point, which is who we're here to speak with today. And these are the 3 people that actually judged the last year's finals and selected who received $70,000, who received $30,000, and who got Marv B steak knives.
That's right. The 3 people coming up on today's episode
I know,
really
right?
held the finalists' destiny in their power.
They did, right?
They were in charge.
Right here in their hands.
Right there. They did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So would you like to start? And we'll start with our first guest and introduce him.
Would love to. Yeah. First up, I would love to bring up my longtime friend, Mrs. Lori Berry from MSPCFO. Lori has been in this MSP space and in the industry for quite some time. She's worked with us through Great America. She's a huge, huge ambassador of IT Nation Evolved. And now she's doing some incredible work with MSPCFO. Lori, welcome.
Thanks, Andrea. Hi, Sean.
Hi, Lori. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Doing well. So, yeah, we could go into way more detail about you for the amount of things that you do with us.
Right. That was just scratching the surface there.
Right. So for those that have not heard of you before or the company, can you give a little bit of background on you and the company, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the Strategic Alliance Manager for MSPCFO for the last year and a half. But I've been in the industry for 22 years now, I think. And IT Nation has been a big part of my journey the entire time.
Perfect. And you also have been a part of, we also have there's Evolve. Everybody knows about Evolve, the peer group for MSPs, but we also have a vendor peer group that you're part of as well, right?
Yes. And I got to be a part of the very first vendor peer group, and then I got to facilitate. So that was a really fun learning experience as well.
Perfect. Anything we need to know about the current company and what you guys do? Anything stand out that we should know?
So MSPCFO it's an amazing company. I'm excited to be there because we help MSPs pick out their profitable customers and make the unprofitable more profitable. And that's just one piece of what we have. 65 reports now, I think, and we're continuing to work on AI stuff this year, so that's exciting. But yeah, great company.
Nice. All right. Anything else I'm missing so far, Andrea?
I think you're rocking and rolling.
Thanks. Be here all day.
Great. Or at
Now,
least for the
before-
next 25 minutes.
Exactly. So before we even get into talking about Pitch It, though,
Yeah,
do we want to bring the other guest on too? One at
we
a time?
probably should. We
Yes.
should. Yeah. All right. Next up, we would like to bring up Tom Lawrence from Lawrence Systems.
Hey, how you doing?
Tom, welcome. How's it going today?
Fantastic.
It is the one thing I always give Tom credit for. He has the most consistent opening hello, how are you, no matter what.
I say fantastic a lot. I need to find a new adjective.
Yep. And then the other thing, he always asks me if we're having fun yet. That's always
Are we having fun yet? I ask that all the time. I've been doing that for years, though. That's
I know.
a good opening
Well,
question.
Are we having fun yet?
I'm always having fun.
Especially when there's hugs involved. Anyway, you're welcome. So for those that don't know you, some more background on you, please. Sir.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm just a weird tech nerd who makes some videos.
I agree with you. So far, we're all in agreement.
It's not a description. I've been working in IT for, long enough to have some gray hair. I think 25 plus years now. Wow. So yeah, it's pushing 30 because my first tech job was 95, 96. Anyways, what I'm doing today and why I'm here, though, is I participate a lot in the MSP world. I have and own an MSP called CNWR, but more people know me, of course, from my YouTube channel, Lawrence Systems, where I share projects and fun things that I'm doing in the tech world and lots of tutorials. So a lot of people know me from that. So my channel's become accidentally popular. I just started putting things out to the world and it turns out people want to watch it. So kind of happenstance my way into doing that side of it. But it's been fun.
And you're over 360,000 subscribers now?
Yep.
Wow. That's impressive. Way to
Yeah,
go.
60 million views or something like that. It's kind of weird.
But, yeah, I agree. What's weird is when you're with Tom and I've been friends for years now, and we're standing side by side, and some random person walks up and looks at him weird and says, I really like your stuff. And it's like, I look at Tom, I'm like, this is just an odd, I don't want to talk anymore. You're with a celebrity.
It's niche famous. I've heard it referred to as fame-ish. Like there's like, if I go to IT Nation, people definitely know who I am. If I'm wandering around, no one knows who I am. You have to be in the right circle of nerds to get recognized.
It's still weird, just so we're clear. It's very weird.
For me too.
Yeah, I know. I look at his face and he's just like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know either.
I say thank you and things like that. It's still, I don't know exactly how to reply when people come up. So I'm always polite and say thank you. And we awkwardly stare because they were nervous to ask me if I'm Tom from Lawrence Systems and I don't know what to reply with. So, and tech nerds are notoriously awkward. So
yes.
Very nice. Well, another person who's joining us on today's show, I'm wondering if people see him at IT Nation and look at him oddly, and if there's that recognition there too. So, Joe Pannone of ForzaDash, come on up. Welcome.
Hello.
Do you get that same look of, I know who you are, when you go to IT Nation when you're walking the halls?
Occasionally from you, but that's about it.
Okay.
That's a totally different look.
Yeah. Who the heck is this again?
This guy.
Who let you in again? I don't understand.
I haven't missed an IT Nation since 2007.
Wow.
And I know you just celebrated 15 years, Andrea, there.
I did. I just celebrated my 15th year of employment with ConnectWise. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of years.
Wild. Yeah.
You're almost ready for another cruise.
That's right. Sail away. Let's do it.
So let's talk about you, Joe. Enough about us. Give us a little more background on you.
Well, I like taking long walks on the beach and riding horseback.
I know. I've seen your Facebook profiles. I know. It's fine.
That's what I enjoy. Yeah. So I started the MSP in '93. I sold it in 2019. Just do a bunch of consulting now with MSPs and vendors. But people know the podcast now, of course. 3.5 years in, 600 episodes and, 500,000 total followers. So it's not just tech, but it's fun. Joey Pins, almost everybody's here been on it. I'm going to have you two. I got to have Tom and Lori on, but certainly Sean and Andrew have been on.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, what's the context and whole goal of your podcast, Joe?
Oh my goodness. So when I started my MSP, I gained a bunch of weight and I got up to 360 pounds. And the doctor said to me, if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. My daughter was born, spent the next 6-7 months, lost about 130 pounds. And people ask me how, like it's some secret. And I always say it's just discipline. So I talk to people who I think are interesting in about 8 or 9 fields. One is tech. And then at the end of the conversation, I ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Both of you answered that question quite differently, Sean.
I feel like we might answer a lot of things quite differently, Joe.
Yes.
I feel like we're doing well. I think we're pretty connected. We are, biological twins.
Yeah. Biological fraternal twins?
Yes, non-fraternal, identical.
I should
biological,
put my glasses
non-identical.
on.
Yeah, I certainly I don't.
Oh, it's non-identical. Oh.
Non-identical.
Well, I have the good hair. She has the
right. That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Anyway, moving on to
PitchIT, the whole reason why we're all here.
What a great program.
Thanks for bringing it back. All right. So you had all agreed last year to be the judges for the finals.
And we thank you so much for being part of the program and helping, get our 3 finalists to where they are today.
Yeah, I had to keep it a secret for like 6 months, by the way. That wasn't easy because I talked to people about it and, couldn't announce it until we showed up there on the table.
Hold on. Let's make sure we clarify what you meant you were keeping a secret. Not that you already knew who the finalists were and how they were going to win, but that you were a judge. Let's make sure we're clarifying.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
your judging status was a secret. We didn't want you to get tainted or have anybody try and,
Absolutely.
strong arm you, right?
So yeah, that's
right.
a good point. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So let's go. So first, I guess the first question I have is, what made you guys agree to actually do the judging? Lori, we'll start with you.
Sure. Well, I felt like it was an incredible honor to be asked. So thank you for that. It's fun because it's not just a competition. It's, like you said, an accelerator. So I was just excited to be there.
Awesome.
I was happy to have you. Somebody had to be sensible there. And speaking of sensible, Tom, why did you decide? Because sensible and Tom.
Because Sean said, you got to do this thing. I said, all right. And then Sean said, are you going to ask what it entails? I said, no, but I'm sure you'll tell me.
Blind trust right there. Very much appreciate that.
Very fun. Actually, me and Sean go back a few years. Me and Sean did some work together with PitchIT. I had helped Sean out interviewing some of the people. So I knew what this program was about. It's definitely a great system. And Sean, when it was the first time you did it when me and Sean were doing it. So it was kind of like, spaghetti at the wall. The Sean is Sean, fix this whole program. Let's make it better. And Sean's like, let's put some ideas, and me and him worked together. So it was a lot of fun. I've had some background, did some interviews, met a lot of people, and me and Sean put together some, fun stuff when it's going. And a few years later, it's still going strong. So I was happy to come at it from the other angle and be a judge. Yeah. So it's definitely a good time.
Yeah, he actually helped me with the first recordings. With him and Adam Belinsky were the only two that were willing to trust it and help me do it at first. And Tom and I, we figured out what we were going to do with it. And it was like, what are we going to ask? I was like, I have no idea. We're like,
how many years has PitchIT been on?
What's that?
How many years has PitchIT?
Well, the program the competition 7 years. The program as it is today, this is our 4th year starting now.
Yep.
I see.
So yeah, because before it was just the competition itself. There wasn't the accelerator incubator piece. But stop asking questions, Joe. This is not your podcast. This is ours.
He can't help it. It's in his nature,
I mean, look how good Tom is doing. Tom's not asking questions. Be more like Tom.
As Joe, I get older, I have more questions than answers, people. I can't help it.
Joe, what made you decide to judge?
Well, I mean, anything to help this glorious community that I've been, a great part of, and I just love it so much. What ConnectWise is doing to help these MSPs, which ultimately help small to medium-sized businesses, which is the backbone of the world economy. So it's, anything I can do to help, I generally like to think I'm up for, and I can never say no to Sean and Andrea.
I like that. I like that better than anything else.
More Andrea than you, Sean. I'm going to be honest, but yeah.
I know my limitations.
Sister.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Well, she's the better half. She always was parents liked her better. Anyway, so now next, while you guys went through the process, yes, Joe, you had to keep it quiet. You guys weren't allowed to say anything for numerous reasons. One is we didn't want any of the vendors reaching out to you guys. Two, also, we wanted to make the announcement you guys were even part of it afterwards, to just so we educate, we do notifications on purpose in a timely fashion to make sure people are watching and paying attention to what's happening. Now, so that answers that part. So we can move on from you keeping secrets. So during the course of this though, and what was the first thought when you were able to watch everything happen during the finals? And Tom, I know you're not paying attention because I see you looking elsewhere. So Tom, what was your first feeling and expectation of the PitchIT finals when you first came to the finals? Because you've actually been to all of them before this as a spectator.
Yeah. No, just fun trying to read through, make sure I understood exactly what each one of the vendors did, what they offered, and trying to assess that sometimes is a little bit challenging. Make sure like you understand their product, where their target audiences is, what the market looks like for that. And so that was some of the challenge. I at least knew one of them because they've been in the channel for a little while. The other ones I was less familiar with, so I'd spend a little bit more time reading up on them. But it was still, it was fun. Getting the forms ready at the last minute, that was kind of fun.
Let's not talk about that.
Making sure we had the scoring and everything else, and make sure we were clear on it, so we're all doing it properly, so we came to the proper conclusions.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah,
Lori, what do you think?
So I thought it was fun that we got a front row seat to some of the most exciting new solutions coming into our industry. And then I sat there and thought, these companies have spent months preparing for this, and I was impressed with their professionalism and innovation. So that part was fun. And
they all presented well.
Yeah, they really did. And then, I wasn't used to that. Sometimes the presentation. So you guys really did a nice job of coaching them up for that. But yeah, it was just enhancing their platforms. They also got mentored by some of the best people in our industry. So that was cool to see. And then the people that didn't know them before, and then all the people that know them now.
Absolutely. You're right. I said this before in a recording, and it's true, is that some of the vendors last year or 2 years ago even, and last year again, they 2 years ago, they came to me and said, you should invite every vendor to come watch us because they put on a clinic of how to present. And then they came back the next year to talk more about it. And they said, oh, it's still equally as impressive. So it's like, we've kind of set a standard now. Now we have to beat it, which is a problem. So maintaining is hard enough, let alone surpassing. So, Joe, what do you think?
Well, it's so cool that there was 25-ish, and then it came down to these three. And the way, there was one security, there's one on insurance, there's one on power saving. Insurance and power saving aren't the sexiest things. And, they were able still to make it compelling and, get that far. So you're right. I'll piggyback on what Lori said, is that they just made it really, really compelling, did a great job. And it was, it was difficult choosing between those three. It was just all well done. I know there was some last minute things that you guys were doing, but it was very smooth from everybody watching and from us judges as well. You all did a great job. That needs to be noted and mentioned.
Thank you. We try.
Appreciate that, Joe. Yeah. So on the judging note, and you guys had some pretty strict criteria and a rubric to go by. Can you kind of talk through some of the key areas that you were looking for when you're actually scoring all of the different finalists.
It's pretty cool the way you had those scorecards set up. I didn't know, I didn't know how that was going to. I guess I'm going to answer, by the way. I
Well,
didn't
yeah,
know.
start with you because you just made the comment of what you were looking for and what was hard to judge.
I say it was really cool the way that was all set up, and the three of us would talk, and we'd have discourse, and we'd huddle, and it was really, it was the best way to do it, because then all three of us heard each other's opinion, and then we decided how we're voting on all three, and then everybody tallied that up. It was a really cool way of doing it. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed asking them questions afterwards, after their presentation, and then the scoring was really cool. It was so well done.
Thank you. What about you, Lori? That gives Tom to think because he needs it now.
I wish I had the scorecard in front of me, but I remember the questions being very thoughtful and just hard to answer on some of them, but I really appreciated having that in front of me so I could listen for those things and watch for those things and then ask questions to get more out of them at the end if they didn't touch on things. And yeah, collaborating was fun and fast and furious at the end. So
yeah, the timetable for doing it after we heard each presentation, and as I said, they all presented well, so it didn't make the choice, super easy. But the business owner hat came on where I said, all right, would I use this, having an MSP doing this type of work, which one of these products would be a good fit? I let that lean into kind of the decision I was making. I'm like, would my company use this? What's the market look like? Does this solution help? Is it something easy for the MSPs to understand and sell? Because that's ultimately going to lead a lot of your success in the market, making sure that you can reach those audiences and make sure it's a compelling offer. So there's a lot of thought that went into that, and it was good collaborating with my other co-judges. So it was good.
So ultimately Sention was the winner, and they very compelling, right? Now, was there anything specific that you looked for to stand out amongst them? That was like the silver bullet, so to speak, for any of them. And Tom, I'll start with you.
I think one of the reasons I leaned towards Sention was it was a security offering. It makes a lot of sense. There's a need to keep things in compliance. The compliance is the word of not just last year, but still this year, is getting baseline security to a certain level, because you can say you need to be secure, but without defining what that means. Well, tools like Sention, where you define like these are the parameters we're going to set to this specific setting, means something. So it's very tangible, easy to understand for the MSPs. These are things you need to do. You can set them all yourself. That's a lot of work. This tool sets them for you. So kind of just leaning into that security and seemingly doing it at what I think is an affordable rate seems like a pretty good deal. So that was part of what led me towards choosing Sention.
Okay, Joe.
When I talk to MSPs, it's generally consistent last 3 or 4 years, 5 years, that keep them up at night. And it's, security is number one. They're worried about it getting attacked. If their clients get attacked, they've got to allocate resources. They've got to, their fixed rate. They're probably going to get fired. They worry about that. 2 being human capital, how they're going to replace their engineers, get new, and then 3rd just being growth. But so when I was looking at these 3 finalists, I'm thinking, okay, I try to get in the mind of the MSP and some of my clients, what would they need the most from there? So although all 3 were really great solutions, the security really addressed their needs, I thought, most impressively.
Okay, Lori.
yeah, there were all kinds of little points that played a part, and we didn't all agree, which is good. That's why you had us. But I think they won because they could move the needle. When you look at the big picture, they can move the needle the most for the MSP industry.
Perfect. Yeah, you're right. We did choose you all because of your different backgrounds, and we figured you guys would see your perspective will be very based off what you all ever did, and that's just a fact of life, and that's what we wanted out of it. And good civil discourse is always a good thing, because you are negotiating a term for somebody to win $70,000. So we hope you guys do get it. Yeah. It shouldn't be that easy. All right. So, Andrea, what am I missing so far?
So in terms of, you've all kind of have been involved in PitchIT over the last couple of years, had an opportunity to either, just attend the finals or chat with some of the contestants over the years here. Is there anything that stands out in the competition to you that has been a key differentiator over the last couple of years?
Ooh, who you want to start with? Tom? Tom, you might want to start with that because you've actually been to all of them.
I think seeing it get bigger has been kind of cool. I mean, this last one, there was I think there was standing room only in it. I mean, it was compared to, I think the first year where it was we were all crammed into this room, but it made it look bigger because there's only so many people fit in a room. And this one was like, there wasn't enough room and it was a much bigger room. So that was nice being, they were all, I would say, even more well polished on their presentations this year. I think it's just as the program has matured and a lot more emphasis is put into how they present, PitchIT team, make sure they curate all these vendors and, go through it, make sure they can talk to their product really well, explain it, because it's a huge piece of it too. You can have the best security product in the world, and there's probably an incredibly good security product that exists right now with a really bad marketing or really bad presentation, so no one will find out about it. It's just as important of having the product as being able to present and to speak to the product. I think there's a lot of good coaching that you guys have done to really bring that forward.
Who wants to go next?
I will. I think it was the mentors. So the very first one, I'm sure you had some sort of mentors, but now that having the previous winners do that and watching them pay it forward and not just kind of lazily, not giving it their all, they really stepped up and wanted them to win. And did a good job coaching them up. So I think that was good.
Yeah, yes, they do. Actually, there's a lot of talking that takes place prior to amongst each other to who's going to win. And right now, you guys may not know, but Jameson West he was a judge at one point. He won PitchIT at one point. And when we first did the coaching, like head coaching mentor piece, it wasn't necessarily the last three finalists. It was because we didn't have that. It was it was him and Callan and who was the other one, Andrea? Oh dear Lord. Regardless, Jameson, he won, and then who was it?
Jerway?
Gene?
Gene. Yeah, Gene Rich from Traceless. Yes. So Jameson won, like I said, all these things, and then his team won, which was Alert Ops. So then Alert Ops became the head coach, and Alert Ops was the head coach for and the mentor for Thread, and now Thread for Sention. So now there's like this legacy dynasty going on that people are hating, which makes me happier because I love that. I want them to hate it. So yeah, it's different. Joe, what do you think?
Well, there's nobody else doing this, Sean. I mean, it's tremendous. You have these startup companies. They don't know how, many of them come. When I talk to these vendors, how they discover MSPs is wonderful. Either they already know they're a former MSP and they have a solution and they, they turn into a solution they want to sell to other MSPs, or it's some vendor who tried to get this to some small business and they said, talk to my MSP. And then what's an MSP? So it's amazing how they get introduced, and there's no other company. I mean, kudos to ConnectWise, kudos to you two, IT Nation. You have this great incubator that says, look, we're going to give you coaching for, what'd you say, Andrea, 16 weeks, and you get involved. I've pushed so many vendors to come here and to be part of this. It's just an incredible thing that you guys are doing, and you need to know that it's a great thing.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. Andrew and I put a lot of work into it in the beginning and still do. Now we have Sam. He does the grunt work now. Thank God. It's exhausting. He does the cat herding of vendors and work and assignments. So it's really worked out well for us at this point.
He does it well.
He does do it well. So we're going to get ready to wrap this up in a minute here. So what I like to know though, now that you've all been part of it in multiple ways at this point, what would you like to see happen in the future? What kind of adjustments or what kind of improvements do you think should happen? And Joe, we'll just start with you since we're on you now.
Well, you had 26 last year, and then it came down to 25. I
Yep.
think, is that correct? And then are the numbers looking good this year? I mean, will it ever get up to a lot, like 50 or something like that?
Well, bandwidth is the challenge there. Just making sure we
Right.
get enough. It's not just bandwidth from us. It's also just not wanting to saturate the market with it too much, right? We want to give our attention to every vendor. We want to give them a chance. If we start putting like 50 and 60, we're not going to be able to give it its just due of the amount of work they have to do and shed the right amount of spotlight on them. Now, it could possibly become a global initiative where we global, I mean, it already is a global initiative in general, but maybe down the road we start getting more localized with the global initiative where, and you know, I make the joke of like America's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent, and you know, I mean, it could eventually be that way, but we just need more vendors from over there to start paying attention, and the MSPs over there to pay attention, because those markets are definitely growing market, but they're not quite as mature as the North American market is yet. So
I would say that my biggest improvement would be to add just a little bit more than the steak knives on the third place. But that, you know, that's.
well, we're making them. Well, they've been asked to be made fancier, so
I'll throw in a 6-pack. I'll throw that in. Sure.
I mean,
Very nice. That's very generous of you, Joe.
Kind of guy.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
Look at you paying it forward. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe some Angel's Envy. Maybe a Buffalo Trace or something. Yeah.
okay,
Okay, well there you go. That's stepping it up. All right.
Whiskey. Yeah, the whiskey sets it up.
Yeah. All right.
you know how I feel about that. Tom, what do you think? What do you think you would like to see change, or just where do you think we can go with this in the future?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, Sean's already brightly colored up there with the cool suits and everything else. we got to get a little more extravagant with Sean.
Oh, good.
Every year we got to level him up a little bit.
That's gonna be hard to do. I don't know what I have.
I was going to say, I don't know if you need the encouragement. I think it just flows. I don't know.
It is a natural thing. Yes, it's a gift. You're welcome. It's my gift to you all.
Maybe a dance competition. No.
A rap battle.
Sean's ready for it.
Stop it, Joe. Joe, stop the rap battle thing. And I mean, we could do a dance off. We'll see. We'll make them start dancing off up there. Like, hey, you said some stuff.
Don't tell them until the day of, though. No rehearsal. See if they watch this podcast. See if anyone.
You actually need a choreographed dance to go with your pitch now. That's what we're changing it. Add it to the rubric. Get ready. To your point, if they didn't watch the podcast, I don't know.
Yeah. Overall, the program is good, though. There's not any one particular thing. I like hearing some of the story. I don't know that I want it to be longer, but part of me does, because I like hitting more background from the people. But I know there's only so much time we can hold that many people in a room before that. So it's a tough call to figure out where to adjust it from here. So I think it's a pretty good program.
Perfect. Lori?
This might be me not knowing, but getting the MSPs more involved in the 25 in the application process, or even getting them to the 1 through 3 instead of vendors. But I don't know who you have going through those applications and things like that. But maybe even a peer, like they could vote for them, vote for each other if they presented practice presentation beforehand.
Huh. I like that. No, we've had a lot more MSPs show up over the last couple of years than we had. You know, if you go back before Andrea and I were involved with it, it was like the finals would have like 15 or 20 people. It was like friends and family coming to watch, you know, like their employees were there watching and rooting for them essentially, but that was it. And so to go from that to go to, I think we tallied over 450 people in that room the last time, almost 550, I think. And we didn't even track all of them, but we were just what we could get. So, and Tom said it best, the first year we were in a much smaller room. Each year we've gotten a bigger room.
Nice.
So, the goal is for the MSPs to start to follow more. Again, these MSPs should want to, because they're always looking for their next purchase of whatever product they want or service. And this is such a non-intrusive way of them window shopping and getting to hear all the details, like where'd the owner come from? Why did they build this solution? What gives them credibility? Who do they work with? They have that luxury if they want to watch. Like when Joe interviews him for his podcast, he talks about things like this. When Marv B does, he talks about it. When we do it with Adam Blinsky, we talk about it. So it's like literally there's enough being produced and pushed out there that they can actually shop I would like to see it like an American Idol type thing where people start following their favorite, right? Because that's what we're here to do. If you look, I mean, it was no surprise at the end of the day that Sention really won. They are able to create enough buzz around themselves too. They had a ton of people there loving them, and like they had a fan base, and you build a fan base by being really good at presenting what you do and having a quality product, right? And being engaged in the community. So I would love more people to follow. So I agree with that. Just gotta figure out how now.
Have you ever done a Where Are They Now episode?
We've been taught. Well, we interview them after the fact, like we bring them back as the head coaches, but we don't get as to not bore people too much. Like a lot of them, they're much like, where are we now? We're still working hard. We're still doing 90 hours a week. That's like, that's almost like the where are we now? Like, yeah, I got to get them like once they're acquired or something 5 years down the road. So that I would love to be able to do that. Like we would want to do that, but we need to get them out of working day to day because they're like, if I ask them a year from now what they're doing, it's going to be the same story.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the next event, Sean. Can't wait. We're working 90 hours a week. We're going to release a new product integrations. I mean, it's like nothing terribly exciting on that end, other than, but what they do a lot of, I think it also, this competition actually gets them moving on more development.
Mm-hmm.
They become more innovative because now they're stuck and they have a standard they have to beat. So it kind of encourages them to innovate more and faster, so. All right. Andrew, am I missing anything?
I think the only thing we're missing is thanking our fabulous judges for joining us today. So happy we had an opportunity to chat with you and get your review of your experience with PitchIT judging for 2024. And
Yes.
looking forward to what's to come in 2025.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. Seriously. I guess I'll be seeing most of you, if not all of you, at IT Nation Secure.
Yep.
Thank you
Thank you guys.
for having us.
All right.
Go Gators.
Look at me now. Look at me now. Check me out.